This is one of the most iconic scenes in One Piece. When Roger shared his final drink with Whitebeard, the setting was beautifully adorned with cherry blossoms. Cherry blossoms, or Sakura, are a symbol of Japan and are prominently featured in many Japanese events. While Sakura often give off a bright and festive impression, they also carry a deeper, darker meaning. All things are impermanent. This famous phrase comes from the Tale of the Heike, an anonymous Japanese war chronicle. It conveys the idea that no matter how prosperous one becomes, everything eventually comes to an end. In this way, Sakura embody the concept of impermanence, symbolizing the fleeting nature of life, the fragility of existence, and sometimes even death. In Japanese, the phrase used for cherry blossoms falling is expressed in this way: sakurachiru. The same expression is also used to mean defeat. Roro no wa Zoro, umi ni chiru. However, it's important to recognize that this perspective isn't entirely negative. The metaphor of life as a cherry blossom suggests that there are no guarantees for tomorrow, and life is unpredictable. Therefore, we must live each moment to the fullest. By doing so, even if it's just for a brief moment, we can move people's hearts, much like the beauty of cherry blossoms in full bloom. The characters who embody this concept are likely Roger and Hiriluk, and at the core of their beliefs is, of course, this man, Joyboy. Welcome back to the channel. I want to thank you all for the growing recognition this channel has been receiving lately. Here, I share deeper insights into One Piece from the perspective of reading the original version. Every like and comment from you supports my work, and I truly appreciate it. But I'm not one to push for it. Just give a like if you genuinely feel like it, and that's more than enough. By the way, I've sometimes worked on presenting translated manga to publishers, so I also help with Japanese translations and marketing. If you're interested, feel free to reach out. According to the poneglyph that Vegapunk read, it seems to contain records of a great battle. This suggests that the Void Century is largely a history of the war between the Great Kingdom and the world government. This raises a significant question for us readers. Why did Joyboy lose the war against the 20 kingdoms? Frankly, based on Chapter 1122, where Joyboy's haki unleashed by Emeth knocked out most of the Marines and even disrupted the powers of the Five Elders, his strength is undeniable. It's also implied that Joyboy had awakened the power of Nika, allowing him to manifest his imagination and fight freely. Moreover, Joyboy had powerful allies, such as Zunisha, the mink tribe living on Zunisha's back, the Kozuki clan who have been waiting for him, the mermaid princess to whom he sent an apology letter, and the giants who revere Nika. All of these groups appear to have formidable combat abilities. Additionally, Pluton is stored in Wano, and the mermaid princess herself is Poseidon. It's likely that Joyboy had control over at least 2 of the ancient weapons. Considering that the Great Kingdom where he was born possessed technology far more advanced than what exists in the current One Piece world, it's hard to believe that Joyboy's forces could have been defeated by a mere temporary coalition of 20 kingdoms. So, there must be some other reason why Joyboy was defeated. Do any ideas come to mind for you? I suspect it might have been due to the spread of a global disease. In fact, the concept of disease could very well become a crucial keyword in One Piece. This could be why Oda-sensei has yet to use the title Fifth Member for Chopper. He might have a significant role to play in the future. Additionally, the fact that Roger was said to have an incurable disease and that there was a doctor at the entrance to the Grand Line must carry some important meaning. The Great Kingdom, which existed between 900 and 800 years ago, is said to have had technology far more advanced than anything in the current One Piece world. This leads me to think about the potential harm that rapid scientific advancement could have had on the human body. Imagine a disease where new pathogens or malfunctioning nanotechnology caused human cells to be attacked, leading to the gradual degradation of bodily tissues. This disease could have been exacerbated by environmental factors such as pollution, radiation, or toxic waste from rapid industrialization. According to Vegapunk, several massive continents existed on the Blue Planet at that time. This suggests that the disease could have spread rapidly across these continents, affecting a large portion of the population. Even with traditional medicine or advanced scientific intervention, the disease might have been unstoppable, leading to widespread panic and societal collapse. Throughout the One Piece series, it's been repeatedly emphasized that even the strongest warriors are no match for pathogens and toxins. The Shandians, a warrior race, feared the god they were up against, but what truly tormented them was the disease transmitted through plants. The Mink tribe, who built a city on the back of Zunisha, are natural-born warriors. They were strong enough to hold their own against Jack and his forces, but even they were helpless against a poison gas weapon. The fierce warriors of Wano were similarly defeated, not by brute force, but by the infectious disease created by Queen, which broke their spirits entirely. Seizing this opportunity, the 20 kingdoms might have stolen the ancient weapons from the Great Kingdom, giving them a significant advantage in the war. This could have been the turning point that ultimately led to the Great Kingdom's defeat by the temporary coalition of the 20 kingdoms. Interestingly, the celestial dragons cover their faces with bubbles when they descend to the surface, which might be a remnant of those events from 800 years ago. When Jack's army released poison gas on Zoo, they used similar bubbles, which suggests that the main purpose of these bubbles is to prevent the spread of infection. Perhaps, to escape the disease that spread across the continent, they decided to ascend to the Red Line. This past experience likely led to their perception of the surface as a filthy place, filled with the risk of disease, a belief that persists to this day. When they climbed the Red Line, the biggest obstacle they faced might have been the Lunarians, the native inhabitants of the Red Line. It's possible they used technology stolen from the Great Kingdom to overcome them. Ultimately, they secured both a safe place and a position of power, which may have fueled their desire for even more control. So, what did Joyboy do in such a dire situation? It seems he came up with an audacious plan. To prevent the global spread of infection, he decided to sink the entire continent, along with its advanced technology, into the ocean. The idea was based on dilution and natural filtration. By submerging the continent, the pathogens and pollutants that existed there would be diluted to the point of becoming harmless. In theory, the vast capacity of the ocean could dilute these contaminants to such low concentrations that they would no longer pose a threat. The seawater contains various microorganisms and natural filtration processes that can break down organic materials, including some pollutants and pathogens. Over time, these natural processes would degrade the infectious agents, reducing their ability to spread. Additionally, by forcefully submerging the infected areas, direct contact between the contaminated regions and humans would be eliminated, potentially reducing the spread of the disease to other populations. In this scenario, the isolation created by the ocean would prevent the disease from finding new hosts, eventually leading to its eradication. With reasons like these, it's understandable why Joyboy might have considered sinking the world into the sea. In the world of One Piece, pirates are seen as evil, and society views Luffy as an outrageous criminal. Similarly, Joyboy may have been labeled a pirate, because he was considered a dangerously radical figure for attempting to sink the world into the ocean. Just like Luffy, who is perceived as a threat by the world, but is known by those close to him as someone pure-hearted and willing to risk his life for his nakama and his friends, Joyboy might have been seen by those who knew him as a person driven by a desire for freedom and a deep commitment to his companions. I believe there's an arc in One Piece that contains hints subtly foreshadowing Joyboy's actions in the past. That arc is the Drum Island arc. The three key themes in the story of One Piece are the inherited will, the turning of the ages, and the dreams of people. The idea of inherited will was particularly highlighted in chapter 145 of the Drum Island arc, and it was Hiriluk who spoke about this philosophy. This is a crucial theme in One Piece. In fact, both Roger and Hiriluk clearly share this philosophy, and they even express it in similar ways. Coincidentally, they are all connected to the symbolism of cherry blossoms. As I mentioned earlier, cherry blossoms symbolize impermanence, representing the fleeting nature of power and life, with the idea that no matter how great one's achievements, everything eventually comes to an end. Roger understood this well, which is likely why he disbanded his crew and surrendered shortly after becoming the Pirate King. This is also one of the reasons why Whitebeard never sought the title of Pirate King until the end. Roger, Whitebeard, Hiriluk, and Odin, each of them fully understood that life is short. That's why they were determined to pass on their will to the next generation. In their view, even if their lives were brief, as long as there were people to carry on their will, they could live on forever. In contrast, those who cling to their own lives and power, like Emu and the Five Elders, embody the opposite mindset. For those who have attained the ultimate power, their greatest fear is losing it. That's why Emu sought to gain eternal life, to prevent the end of their reign. But in doing so, they are doomed to live in constant fear of the day when their glory will inevitably fade away. This is the fundamental difference in their philosophies. This raises a big question. Why did Hiriluk hold this philosophy? I believe Hiriluk might have adopted this way of thinking after coming into contact with Roger. Hiriluk mentioned that he had been researching the miracle Sakura for 30 years as of 8 years ago. This means that he started his research 37 years ago, suggesting that just before that, he was in a country far west of Drum Kingdom, where he witnessed the miracle Sakura. Now, do you remember what happened 1 year before that? Yes, the God Valley incident. This event took place 38 years ago in the West Blue. I think Oda-sensei specifically set the God Valley incident 38 years ago to align with the time when Hiriluk was in the West Blue. It's likely that during his time in the West Blue, Hiriluk encountered Roger and his crew. Hearing about Roger's adventures and philosophy, Hiriluk came to take pride in the idea of being a pirate. That's probably why he encouraged Chopper to become a pirate and set out to sea. At that time, he said he would fight like a pirate. So what was he planning to fight against? It was probably the incurable disease he was suffering from. After all, Roger also battled a terminal illness and still became the Pirate King. By the way, Hiriluk returned from the West Blue, crossing the Red Line to the opposite side to Drum Kingdom, which is located in the first half of the Grand Line. In the world of One Piece, crossing the Red Line to reach the other side is a perilous journey, and it's hard to imagine that Hiriluk, who was just a thief and not a pirate, could have made that voyage alone. Yes, you've probably noticed it by now. It all makes sense if we consider that he might have returned to Drum Kingdom aboard Roger's ship. There's also a very interesting note in the One Piece magazine. Contact with Kureha on Drum Island. This suggests that Roger had met Kureha on Drum Island at some point. In fact, Kureha knew Roger's true name was Gol D. Roger, and she mentioned the will of D, which implies she might have heard about the meaning of D directly from Roger. This makes it highly likely that Roger visited Drum Kingdom with Hiriluk after the God Valley incident. And their encounter at that time might have been on the distant western island where Hiriluk mentioned the cherry blossoms were in full bloom. By the way, I share translations of One Piece magazine with my Patreon members. I've translated and shared this special feature on Roger on my page. It will be available for free for a few days after this video is released, so if you're interested, please check it out. You might discover new insights that support your theories. The One Piece magazine also touches on the first meeting between Roger and Rayleigh. The word used here is quite rare. It's read as kaiko, meaning an unexpected encounter. When they met, Roger had already declared his intention to turn the world upside down. This suggests that he might have already been aware of Joyboy's philosophy in some form. It's likely that being a member of the D family played a role in this understanding. Alternatively, there might have been secrets hidden in Logetown. In any case, this implies that Roger's famous words were likely passed down from Joyboy, who is believed to be an ancestor of the D family.
受け継がれる意志、時代のうねり、人の夢、人々が自由の答えを求める限り、それらは決してとどまることはない。
Roger must have shared this philosophy with Hiriluk. Roger traded his life to bring about the pirate era. So what did Hiriluk leave behind in exchange for his life? It was his unique form of medicine. While he was undoubtedly a quack doctor who sometimes put people's lives at risk, there is one thing he did manage to heal: the sickness of the nation.
俺はこの国を医者として救ってみせる。だから全ての病気に俺はこのドクロを抱えたのだ。
Joyboy likely did something similar. In his time, the advanced continents of the world were not only physically, but also metaphorically infected with disease. So he raised the skull and crossbones against these ailments and became a pirate. After witnessing Hiriluk's final moments, Dalton remarked, "I see the path this country must take. It's to perish." Joyboy might have said something similar. I can see the path this world is destined to take. It will sink into the sea. In this way, Joyboy sank the advanced science and technology along with the continents into the sea, effectively destroying the world while leaving behind the ancient weapons and poneglyphs for future generations to create a new world. However, I believe that submerging the world beneath the ocean wasn't his only goal. I think he had another purpose, one that connects to the true reason for the creation of the ancient weapons. I believe that Joyboy, in an effort to bring hope to a world on the brink of destruction and to relieve the suffering of those afflicted by disease, came up with a plan. While the exact functions of Pluton remain unclear, there's a hint in the form of Enel's creation: Maxime. Maxime had the ability to generate clouds. I think Pluton might be a weapon capable of producing clouds in a similar way. The clouds in Sky Island are formed by a substance called pyrobloin, which is found in sea stone. We know that sea stone originates from Wano, and that pyrobloin is carried into the sky by volcanic eruptions. This suggests that pyrobloin might be released by eruptions from Fujiyama, where Pluton is said to be buried deep underground. This implies that Pluton might store pyrobloin, which would explain its ability to create clouds. As for the ancient weapon Uranus, its true identity hasn't been revealed yet, but Sabo mentioned seeing something dark flying above the clouds. The name Uranus also suggests a connection to clouds, leading me to believe that this weapon might harness the clouds produced by Pluton to release energy. However, I don't believe Joyboy intended to use these as weapons. Instead, I think he planned to use this energy for something far more grand and noble. The clue lies in the scene where Hiriluk's research cures the sickness of the nation. When Drum Kingdom transformed into Sakura Kingdom, Kureha used a weapon to launch the pink dust that Hiriluk created into the sky, making the cherry blossoms bloom. In other words, she used the weapon not as a tool of destruction, but to heal the nation's illness. I believe this is what Joyboy intended to do as well. First, Joyboy would use Pluton to create an enormous amount of clouds, enough to cover the entire world. Once these clouds spread across the globe, he would use Uranus, which can move within the clouds, to fill them with a pink powder that would make cherry blossoms bloom everywhere. This would allow everyone in the world to see the cherry blossoms at the same time. Given that Joyboy likely possessed the powers of Nika, the warrior of liberation, he would have used that rhythm to free people. However, the sound of his drum wouldn't reach the entire world. That's why I believe Joyboy intended to use this method to heal the bodies of those afflicted by disease, the minds of those despairing in a sinking world, and the hearts of the power-hungry alliance of the 20 kingdoms with his unique form of medicine. It's no coincidence that this nation was called the Drum Kingdom. Upon learning the truth about his intentions, people might have referred to him as Dr. Joy Brown. Excuse me, I mean, people referred to him in this way. Dr. Joyboy.